Mimo obi bia kwaba eba Melodies TV so. Me promise mo say me de lawyers bi nsem a wo mo atrafa Ghana Bar Association for enyama wo mo eyeye some days ago no me de bebre mo na me pese me read lawyer baako a friend no Jonathan A. Alua. This is his reaction. Na mama mo ati say I like it when lawyers speak on national issues like this because ehona obenya different perspective na ye quote mra na ye trel enra me de lawyer baako ono history a wode eba betuja enti en read the lawyer we ono nso ne dia watrafa Ghana Bar Association o say response suspension of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, reaction to the Ghana Bar Association's communique by a concerned member. He's a member of the Ghana Bar Association. Or say, dear Ghana Bar Association executives, or say for a long time, the Ghana Bar Association has come under criticism for its silence on national issues. This is understandable, given that the Ghana Bar Association occupies a pivotal place in our march toward exemplary democracy. It has historically led the way when the nation was in dire need of thoughtful leadership and advocacy. With new leadership at the helm, members naturally look to the current executives to elevate the Ghana Bar Association to its rightful place as the nation's voice of conscience. That mandate, however, must never be mistaken as a call to reduce our noble association to a vehicle for partisan advocacy. I write this in extreme frustration. The association to which I belong, one I have always been proud of, has pursued a course that cast a shadow of indecision and poor discernment over all its members. To say letter where I will try or trauma Ghana Bar Association for na or the frustration you can't say what you but young fans or the yaw party as here or they trust our letter we because I dear Ghana Bar Association I know ama omoya lawyers ni na wa Ghana krum hanu ni na no ama omonim ye guase. Also with great respect to my seniors at the Ghana Bar Association and perhaps also to those who sought to embarrass the association at the recently held mid-year conference, I submit that we have done ourselves great harm by using the association as conduit for partisan or personal sentiment. Inti oka say impenyimfo ene womo a womo call ye koko take that decision and sinya no kware ni omo say association ni din say womo e de akwa akoye politics ejuma. I say I will now address the resolutions passed at the mid-year conference and explain why, in my view, the Ghana Bar Association has erred in adopting them. Inti no obetre nsemu na nye se bia o kaseti Ghana Bar Association keke obetre nsemu na watre mu di nti ade Ghana Bar Association fo akwa akoye no eye ade bi entweye. I say revocation of the suspension. I say the Ghana Bar Association calls for the immediate revocation of the suspension of the Chief Justice, as it considers the suspension to be unconstitutional, considering the fact that the president, who is not a judge or judicial officer, exercised his discretion to suspend the Chief Justice under Article 14610 of the 1992 Constitution in the absence of a published constitutional instrument, statutory instrument, or regulations governing the exercise of his said discretion as required by Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution. Also, the Ghana Bar Association has no authority to call for such a revocation. It is nearly absurd to use the voice of the association to urge action from other arms of government, knowing full well such calls are unlikely to be heeded. This not only portrays the Ghana Bar Association as a powerless body, but it also reflects a troubling lack of prudence. Into what I say, Ghana Bar Association for Air Quality His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. On first Chief Justice name Brabium no. Or trust Ghana Bar Association mu ni say to me no. Embra emma Ghana Bar Association to me say. The more no president no by force on diso. Mu ni say to me no. It is how they we am akwakoye. Mu ni bo mutirimu pen say. Enya their president no obedi so. Now so mu di mirika akwakoka. Na tresa mo kra no. Ensem a mo tro amode ba na kra no. Mo kra mu ni mo ho mu ni mutumi. Say ade aye ken de ye ni tumi si ye be bisa sansem we ene ye koko bisa. Ebema Ghana phone in who say more Ghana Bar Association for crown no more powerless because you know what the president will do. And for sure, what the president will do is that the president will not listen to you. And so, your image in the can microphone who is a more powerless. Into the more also, let me be clear. The Ghana Bar Association should be vocal on national matters. Article 2 of the Ghana Bar Association Constitution expressly enshrines such advocacy. However, this mandate does not extend to making pronouncements that are devoid of legal merit or moral force. Also, Ghana Bar Association, they will be in Kase, Asemba Mamon Kasanfa, Monka. Now, so, Mooni said to me, no. Mooni to me a mobema order, but mo to me a mobeka moadwin. Enti dia mo ye ya mo aba bema president ro order mo make pronouncement ne de aba nim embre nim to me bi ani echi. Also, we owe a duty to the public just as we do to the profession, our clients and the courts. While individuals may disagree with the necessity of the Chief Justice's suspension, the Constitution does not leave that decision to us. The discretion lies with the President, who, acting with advice from the Council of State, determines whether a prima facie case exists. And you see, I've said this. Article 146 no. Enya idea will be beka say beka say ambiguous. Na obronika say bibi ambiguous and atre say yen sheda anti asiesa da bi clear. Article 146 na clear. Ama president ni tumi a onfanye adwuma. Enti o tre say president no tumi na article 146 dia man no eno an we bi so. I take an admitted strong position on Article 14610. Once a prima facie case is established, the suspension of the Chief Justice should be mandatory. This interpretation, consistent with the modern purposive approach, exists to prevent undue influence in a committee that includes two of her judicial subordinates. The suspension in such circumstances is not punitive, it is precautionary. Into what I say, the reason why Article 14610 no is a president no was suspend the Chief Justice. Emra, ya find the prima facie case no NSA. You see, Constitution can say president no or seti committee a one for judges mienu to so. Sa judges mienu no omo she Chief Justice na say. Inti say do sa state na president no one suspend the Chief Justice na. The Chief Justice no can have influence on those two judges na omo te committee ne so no. Inti the framers of the Constitution omonyansemu no edru that time na suspend the Chief Justice no so that the Chief Justice cannot have any undue influence on the committee a omohwe ne nsemu. Inti enya say be a Chief Justice no ye punish no but precautionary ye so that asem no emu beda ho fan na wo bi ehu no kware ewum. Even if one does not share my reading, a literal interpretation still leaves no doubt that the discretion lies with the president. The Ghana Bar Association attempts to quote the law accurately but proceeds to misapply it. It argues that because no constitutional instrument exists to guide the president's discretion under Article 296, the suspension is unconstitutional. That argument is deeply flawed. As one of our most respected jurists, Professor Samuel Dateba, offers definitive guidance in Ransford, France versus Electoral Commission and Attorney General. He cautions against invalidating discretionary acts solely because they are not accompanied by a CI. The safeguard required by Article 296 is that discretion must not be exercised arbitrarily. If the president acts reasonably, fairly, and without malice, consistent with due process, then the absence of a CI is not fatal to the legality of his action. Professor Dateba aptly stated, the standard embodied in Article 296C may well offer a desirable benchmark for good practice, but non-compliance with it should not be treated as resulting in validity. These are the words of a revered jurist, not mine. Into B, enactment of regulations. That the exercise of power under Article 146 require a CI. Perhaps Article 296C must also be read in context. If the process is fair, candid, and devoid of malice or arbitrariness, then a CI is not a prerequisite. Could one be helpful? Yes, it is essential. Maybe the relevant constitutional provisions are subsequently detailed to ensure procedural fairness without additional regulations. Now, I'll say release of the prima facie determination. On say Ghana Bar Association for say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama won't release the prima facie, no. Or say the demand is particularly troubling. As legal practitioners, we must not approbate and reprobate. Article 1468 clearly states that all proceedings shall be held in camera while a petition initiates the process. The quasi-judicial proceedings commence only after a prima facie determination is made. That process is not meant for public consumption. Citing past practice, such as the removal of Charlotte Osei, is disingenuous. That disclosure may have been unauthorized. Indiscretion does not establish precedent. You know, the background train adwene a wabɔ na adwene atre Ghana Bar Association for say the omo ye ntwa ye